using Spring Boot setup. Already we developed the same application in Spring Core module. Let us try to develop the similar application in what? Spring Boot setup. Okay. Now, I hope everyone completed the last application. Only project creation process is little different. After that, coding wise same na boss. Okay, in fact, it's very much simplified compared to earlier time, right? Okay. Online students, am I audible? Am I visible? Please respond. Yes, guys. Here is the paint one. File open. Class content. Spring. What's your batch code, guys? 515, right? Spring Boot core. Spring Boot MVC first application. Spring Boot first application flow of execution, right? Spring application dot run method, nothing but static method of Spring application class performs what? Bootstrapping of Spring Boot application by performing multiple activities, including what? Application context container creation by taking given class as what? Configuration class. By simply literally taking given class as what, guys? Configuration class. Clear, my dear? Come on. So that means we run the main method. Inside that, Spring application dot run method executes. Run is a static method of what class, guys? Spring application class that performs many activities internally, which are called bootstrapping activities. In the whole process, it also creates what? IOC container. Clear? Tell me, how many types of IOC containers are there? Two types. Bean factory application. The Spring application dot run method creates which type of IOC container? Test container application context. In standalone Spring application, the Spring application dot run method uses what? Following statement to create what? IOC container. What is that? Annotation config application context. CTX is equal to new annotation config application context. This one. The first arg of Spring application dot run method will be taken as what? Configuration class. That is nothing but Spring Boot application annotated class, guys, which is nothing but configuration class, right? So Spring application dot run method is called with how many arguments? 2 arguments. One is arg1. Current class nothing but @Spring Boot application class as the configuration class. Array, on the top of main class we write @Spring Boot application annotation. Come on. That class itself becomes what? arg1. And that arg1 will become what, guys? Come on. Okay, configuration class. arg2 string args. Nothing but command line argument we can bind to Spring Bean property. So if you pass some command line argument, they can be bound with what? Spring Bean properties. So some kind of binding command line arguments to Spring Bean properties will happen. Right now we are not highlighting second argument, we are highlighting only first argument. This is our season finder application. Okay, shall we start understanding the flow part, guys? Number 1, we are running the application or not, guys? Number 2, main method executed. Number 3, Spring application dot run method is called. So many internal activities will happen. One activity is IOC container creation. One activity is what? IOC container creation or not, guys? In that process, come on, the main class is taken as configuration class. What class, guys? The main class is taken as what? Configuration class. Are you getting my point there or not? Takes the given main class as the configuration class. Okay. Array main class is passed as first argument, that is taken as configuration class. Array configuration class is what? Spring Bean come configuration class, right? So number 5, loads the main class. What's there? Loads the main class, creates the object, makes it as a Spring Bean or not, guys? No bean ID for that. When no bean ID, what happened? Class name itself becomes default bean ID. Nothing but first letter in lowercase. Class name becomes bean ID or not, guys? Yeah, this is the class object. Class name itself becomes bean ID. Everything same, guys. First letter in lowercase. Everything same. First letter is in lowercase. Did you notice that, boss? Everything is same, but it takes first letter in lowercase mode or not, guys? It simply literally take first letter in what mode, guys? Lowercase. Okay, that is number 1. Number 6, it reads this annotation now, my dear. Come on. @Spring Boot application annotation. What annotation? @Spring Boot application annotation. In that annotation, that is combination of how many annotation? 3 annotation. Because of configuration annotation, main class is loaded, object is created, and it also becoming Spring Bean or not, guys? Definitely it is also becoming Spring Bean or not, guys? Come on, everyone. No doubt. It is definitely becoming what? Spring Bean. No doubt in that. It is definitely literally becoming what? Spring Bean. No second thought in that, guy. Yeah, tell me next one. What's the next story, guys? What's the next story to follow, my dear? Come on. That is number 5. What is number 6? It particularly reads this annotation or not, guys? Okay, number 7. @enable auto configuration annotation of @Spring Boot application checks. Are there any special starters? Nothing but jar files added to the class path. Since not found, so no auto configuration activities will take place. Any auto configuration activities will take place, guys? It does not to perform any auto configuration activities. It does not look to perform any sort of what? Auto configuration activities. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Super, guys. Tell me. @enable auto configuration annotation of Spring Boot application checks. Are there any special characters? Nothing but jar file added to the class path. Since not found, so no auto configuration activities takes place. No special starters are added this time. This annotation is there, but it got wasted. But that is not a direct annotation that came from what? Spring Boot application annotation. Okay. At the rate Spring Boot application annotation also having what? Component scan annotation or not, guys? Also having what, guys? Component scan annotation. What do you say, guys? At the rate component scan annotation of Spring Boot application scans the current package. What is that? com.nt. And it's what? Sub packages to get all the class names that are annotated with what? Stereotype annotations like what? At the rate component. In that process, finds what, guys? com.nt.sbeans dot season finder class and makes it as what? Spring Bean. Season finder class and makes it as what? Spring Bean. Convinced, my dear? Got the point, my dear? I want reply, guys. Come on. Okay, here is my what, guys? At the rate component scan annotation. Takes the current class package com.nt. Scans current package and sub packages. Current package and what? Sub packages. Scans are not, guys. Definitely try to can current package and what? Sub packages. Right. Looks for classes that are having what? Stereotype annotation. That are having stereotype annotation. Are you comfortable, my dear? Come on, everyone. Okay. Stereotype annotation. That are annotated with stereotype annotations like component. And in that process finds only one class that is having what? Stereotype annotation. That is season finder class or not, guys? That is definitely nothing but season finder class. What do you say, guys? Okay, boss. Number one. That is number. And it looks for IOC container looks for are there any at the rate bean method? IOC container searches for at the rate bean method in configuration class and finds only one at the rate bean method that is in what? At the rate Spring Boot application class. What is there? At the rate Spring Boot application class. That is what? Main class. Okay, it look for that. This one now, boss. Local date, create date, now all this stuff happening. Okay, number 10. IOC container searches for singleton scope, Spring Beans, and perform pre-instantiation or eager instantiation on Spring Beans or not, guys. Season finder is having any scope, guys? No. So singleton. Okay, at the rate bean method is having any scope, guys? No. That is also what? Singleton scope. That is also what, guys? Singleton scope. Are you getting my point? Total how many singleton scope Spring Beans are there? Two are there. Both will be pre-instantiated or not, guys? Both are pre-instantiated. That is number 10. Oh, okay. Number 11. Already known things, nothing great because of this. As part of pre-instantiation of singleton scopes, stereotype annotation classes will be instantiated automatically. And at the rate bean methods of configuration classes will be executed what? Automatic. At the rate bean methods of at the rate configuration class will be executed what? Automatically. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Super, guys. Next one. At the rate component scan annotation activates the code related to what, guys? The code related to at the rate auto void annotation to search and get all the has a properties where at the rate auto void annotation is applied. The code of at the rate component scan searches for in how many places at the rate auto void annotation is placed. One place or two places or three places. It found only one place. That it in this process finds only in what? season finder spring bean class. Only in what? Season finder spring bean class. On the top of date property, this at the rate auto void is there or not there, guys? Yeah. Next one. At the rate auto void annotation has a property type local date and searches for the spring bean whose class name is local date. So makes the IOC container to inject what? Local date class object to season finder class objects has a property. Are it happily trying to go for injection activity or not, guys? It is happily trying to go for what? Injection activity or not? I want reply, my dear. Come on. At the rate auto void annotation gets the has a property type local date and searches for what? Spring bean whose class name is what? Local date. So makes the IOC container to inject what? Local, nothing but dependent spring bean class object to target spring bean class objects has a property or not, guys? Target spring bean class objects has a property or not, guys? Come on, everyone. Super, guys. That is number 12. That is number 12. Okay, that's great. Number 13. IOC container try to keep all spring bean class objects in the internal cache of the IOC container or not, guys? Simply literally in the internal cache of the IOC container, all the spring bean class objects refs will be placed or not, guys? Okay. SF, it's a reference. DT, it's a reference. Okay, it's a reference. All the things are kept or not, guys? Okay, it's like map collection internally. Okay, keys are what? These are the keys. These are the values. One side keys, guys, one side values. Number 14, Spring application dot run method returns application context object representing the IOC container. Okay, once everything is over, okay, control comes to whom, guys? Control comes to whom? This place, 14, right? Okay, with this, Spring application dot run method call is completed. So IOC container creation is also completed now, boss. Yeah, numbers 15. CTX dot get bean with a SF method is CTX dot get bean with a SF is called or not called, guys? Super, guys. Tell me that bean ID SF is passed to whom, guys? That bean ID SF is passed to whom, guys? Internal cache of the IOC container. That is number 16. Super, boss. Okay. That is number 16. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay. Yeah. So, bean ID SF is there or not there, guys? Bean ID SF is there or not there, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay. Bean ID SF is there, right? So from there you will get season finder class object reference. Definitely you will get what? Season finder class object reference. That is 17, guys. On that, we are going to call the business method. Okay, on that we are going to call the business method. Come on, I want reply, guys. 17, 18. Okay, the business method of the target spring bean executes or not? 19. Okay, here result is returned or not returned? 20. Okay, return result comes to string variable 21. Okay, result comes to string variable 21. 22, result is displayed or not, guys? 23, container is closed. In that process, container is closed and all spring bean object references will be closed or not, guys? 24, end of the application. By that time, everything is over or not there, guys? Nothing is there. Only auto configuration activity it will try to perform. Since no special starters are added, does it perform any auto configuration? No. That's why I can say flow is almost same as what? 100% code driven configuration based application or not, guys? 100% code driven configuration based application or not, guys? Come on, everyone. Using interface reference variable that is pointing to implementation class object. We can call only common methods of both. If you want to call direct methods of implementation class, we need to go for typecasting. What is that? We need to go for what? Typecasting, like ctx dot close method call. Okay, like what? ctx dot close method call. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on, everyone. We have to think about working with what? CTX. But why are you going for typecasting there, guys? Okay, why are you going for typecasting there? Are you understanding my statement, guys? Yeah, why you are doing typecasting? What is need of typecasting? Any guesses? Any guesses? Any guesses? Yeah, the reason is very simple and straightforward. We are application context interface is not having close method. But that is using that I want to call what? Close method, not possible. So we need to do typecasting with that interface where that close method is actually defined or not, guys. So that's the reason we are going for typecasting. I hope everyone comfortable with the flow. Nothing great. It's the same as 100% code driven configuration based Spring application development. Okay. What is the difference between Spring and Spring Boot? One side is Spring, one side what? Spring Boot. It is also called as Java EE framework or application framework. It is just called what? Spring Boot framework. It is just called as Spring Boot framework. Are you getting my point, guys? Come on, everyone. Provides abstraction on Java JWE technologies and simplifies their application development or not, guys? Provides abstraction on Spring framework and simplifies what? Spring applications development or not, guys? Come on, everyone. Right. Avoids boilerplate code related to what? Java JWE technologies based on application development. Java JWE technology based application development will be simplified or not, guys? But still continue some more boilerplate code. Avoid Spring Framework related boilerplate code. The code that repeats in multiple parts of the application, either with no changes or with minor changes, is called boilerplate code or not, guys? The main feature of Spring Framework is dependency management, both dependency lookup and what? Injection. The main feature of Spring Framework is what? Auto configuration. Nothing but what? Giving common things automatically. It's all about simply giving common things automatically or not, guys? Super, guys. Spring Boot framework is what? Self-intelligent. Array auto configuration means what? Many things it will do on its own automatically or not, guys? Super. Next one. Supports XML driven configuration to provide inputs or configurations to whom? IOC container. Inputs are configurations to whom, guys? Does not support XML driven configuration directly. Spring Boot avoids or minimizes what? XML driven con. But in Spring Boot also in cont but situation, you have to entertain XML thing or not, guys? You need to entertain. You need to entertain. Come on. If you want to use certain feature of Spring for which annotations are not there, okay, annotations are not there like method replacer, bean aliasing, inner beans, tiles, bean inheritance, collection merging, etc. These are extra feature. We need to link Spring Bean configuration file to @Spring Boot application annotation or not, guys. Using what annotation? @import resource annotation. @import resource annotation. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Allows to develop application using three types of configurations. How many types of configurations? A, XML driven configuration. B, XML plus annotation driven configuration. C, okay, 100% code driven or Java config approach. What approach, guys? Java config approach. Are you getting my point? Yes. 3. Supports only one style of configuration, that is what? Through annotation. Directly giving what? Auto configuration inputs through application.properties or what? YML file. Simply through what? Application.properties or what? YML file. Can add special configuration using what? XML file through @import resource annotation. What annotation? Simply through @import resource annotation. Convinced, my dear? Come on, everyone. Programmer creates IOC container explicitly, except in what? Spring MVC applications. What applications? Programmer does not create IOC container. Rather, he gets it by calling what? Spring application dot run method according to what? Application type. Okay. Or in Spring programming, we only creating IOC container by using new operator. In Spring Boot, are we creating IOC container or is it coming by calling Spring application dot run method? It's coming because of Spring application dot run method. Does not give embedded server. So to run Spring-based web application, we need to arrange what? Server explicitly. We need to arrange what? Server explicitly. Are you getting my point? So that means for that one, we need to go for external servers or not, guys? We need to go for what? External servers or not, boss? Come on. Gives Tomcat, Jetty, etc. as embedded server in web application. Only for testing they are good. Allows to work with both embedded and external servers now, my dear. Or here, if you want to run the web application, you must install external server. In Spring Boot, we have a provision to work with in-memory server, nothing but embedded server, and also external server. Come on. Okay. The server that is installed by programmers manually is called external server. What server? Glassfish, Tomcat, Wildfly, and what? Etc. Tomcat is popular as what? Embedded external server. Embedded and what? External server. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay. We need to add dependencies, jar files manually and directly. Using Maven Gradle, we can get dependent jar files. When we add main jar file, that means still we need to add what? Relevant jar files explicitly. Still we need to add what, guys? Relevant jar files explicitly. We need to add dependents, nothing but jar files manually and directly. Using Maven Gradle, we can get dependent jar files. When we add main jar file, that means still we need to add what? Relevant jar files explicitly. Spring Boot gives what? Starter kind of dependencies, which provides main jar file, dependent jar file, and what? Relevant jar file. Here also we use what? Maven Gradle to add what? Starters. Maven Gradle to add what? Starters. Supports the starters over there or not there, guys? Super. Suitable for new projects development to enhance the existing projects. Okay, to enhance the existing projects and to migrate one version of Spring to another version of Spring. Supports both brownfield and greenfield projects or not, guys? Not suitable for migration projects and also not suitable to convert Spring projects to Spring Boot projects, but very much suitable for what? New projects development from scratch level. Supports only greenfield projects development. What projects development, guys? Supports only greenfield projects development. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Yeah, suitable. It is only suitable for greenfield project. It is suitable for both greenfield and brownfield. Bit lightweight compared to Spring Boot. No auto configuration support. Array lightweight means memory utilization wise it takes less memory. Memory utilization wise it takes what? Less memory. Bit heavyweight compared to what? Spring. Because of auto configuration, many unnecessary objects will be created. Even unnecessarily jars may add. Unnecessarily objects will be created and unnecessarily jars may add or not, guys. Spring Boot starter JDBC gives following objects as what? Spring Bean. Hikari data source, JDBC template, named parameter, JDBC template, data source transaction manager. If you use all of them in your project, fine. Suppose you are using only Hikari data source. Remaining 3-4 objects got wasted or not, guys? Come on. Here no auto configuration. We configure Java class as Spring Bean so that we can configure only required class as Spring Beans, na boss? Because of auto configuration, both necessary and unnecessarily classes are becoming Spring Bean. If you use all of them, fine and good. But if you don't use few of them, they will be wasted or not, guys? Right. Spring Framework is suitable for developing standalone application and small scale and medium scale web application. Good for small web application, small scale and medium scale application. Spring Boot is good to develop large scale web application, distributed application, and what? Microservice architecture application. What application, guys? Microservice architecture application. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Microservice architecture says develop different modules as different projects and integrate them using different third-party libraries. Integrate them using what? Different third-party libraries. Are you getting my point? No exclusive support for what? Microservice architecture based application development. Supports more exclusively. Array Spring Boot is very good to develop microservice architecture projects. Why? Array 10 services means 10 microservices. Come on, my dear. 10 services means what? 10 microservices. What do you say, guys? 10 services means 10 microservices. Are you getting my point there, guys? Okay. Every project, some common operations will be there. If they are coming through auto configuration, definitely it is advantage or not, guys? Okay. No built-in properties file support. That means what? Every property file must be configured what? Explicitly. Give properties with implicit configuration. Do you need to configure this one separately, guys? No. It will be configured automatically or not, guys? It will be configured automatically or not, guys? Come on. No support for YML file. Gives great support for YML file. As of now, remember, YML files are alternate to property file or not, guys? What is YML, guys? There are multiple abbreviations. Yet another markup language. YML or YAML. Yet another markup language. Yet another markup language. Got it, guys? That is what YML. There is one more abbreviation for it. What is there? There is one more abbreviation for it. Ain't. What is there, guys? Markup language. What is there? Ain't markup language. Okay. Next one. Amaling markup language. What is there? Amaling markup language. Amaling markup language. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. We cannot inject the entries of properties for YML file to SpringBoot properties. Okay. Through bulk injection process. Here, bulk injection is not possible. Bulk injection means what? 10 properties are there in what? 10 values are there in property file. At once I want to inject to multiple properties of SpringBoot. Not possible. You are using @ value annotation. One by one we have to inject na. 10 values means 10 times we have to inject na, my dear. Come on. That means we need to go for one-to-one injection using @ value annotation. Supports bulk injection in the same environment using what? @ configuration properties annotation. What annotation? @ configuration properties annotation. Gives multiple independent annotations to use in what? Spring programming. Multiple independent annotation to use in what? Spring programming. Getting my point? Gives advanced annotation which internally combines what? Multiple related Spring annotations. Multiple related Spring annotation. For example, yes. For example, what is this? SpringBoot application is equal to configuration plus enable auto configuration plus component to scan. Clear, guys? Come on, everyone. Gives less productivity, gives more productivity. Doing more work in less time with a good accuracy is called what? More productivity or not, guys? Tell me, Spring is good or SpringBoot is good, my idea? No doubt in that, SpringBoot is good because it's created on the top of Spring, no doubt. Developer develops the SpringBoot application using what? SpringBoot framework. That internally uses what? Spring framework. That provides abstraction on what? One or more JWE technology, JDBC, JNDA, JMS. Okay, all these are developed based on what? Java programming language. Microservice application is nothing but web service application plus plus or not, guys? Especially RESTful application was. Especially what? RESTful application. Okay. I already said about SpringBoot is very good for what? Microservice architecture based application. Microservice architecture is extension of what? Web services. Especially RESTful web services. What services, guys? Okay, guys. Okay, now if someone asks you what is the difference between web services and what? Microservices. So the following answer we have to give now, boss. What is the relation between web services and microservices? What is the relation between web services and what? Microservices. Web services is given to develop the distributed application. Nothing but application to application interaction is taking place or not, guys? Application to application interaction is taking place or not, guys? So, simple object access protocol. Web services can be implemented in how many ways? Two ways. SOAP based, RESTful. SOAP is outdated, almost outdated. Who is doing well? RESTful web services. Our web services can be implemented in two ways. What are the technologies to develop web services in SOAP based environment? JAX RPC, JAX WS are the technologies to develop what? SOAP based web services. Apache CFX, Axis are the frameworks to develop what? SOAP based web services. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Here, the media data of communication between client and server is what? XML. But XML is losing its popularity or not, guys? Okay. Look at this. RESTful web services, popular and it's a hot cake. REST means representational state transfer. RE means representational state transfer. What are the technologies we are using? JAX RS is technology to develop RESTful web service. Jersey, Spring REST, SpringBoot REST, REST Easy, RESTlet, and etc. are the frameworks to develop what, guys? RESTful web services. And etc. are the frameworks to develop what, guys? RESTful web services. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. In web services environment, the distributed applications are what, guys? Interoperable. That means client and server application or consumer or producer application. Flipkart and PayPal are application to application interaction, na boss. Flipkart is a website client. Okay, PayPal is a service provider server. They can be there either in same language or technology. They can be there in what? Different languages and technology. That's why I can call them as interoperable or not, guys. PayPal service that is there in Java can be consumed in what? Java based client application or .NET based, PHP based, Python based, reverse also. Similarly, server provider application also not compulsory that should be there in Java. That can be there in any technology, any language. So can I say web services based distributed applications are interoperable? That means service provider application services can be developed in what? Any language or technology. Similarly, they can be consumed from what? Application that is developed in any language or what? Technology. So that is what? Client and consumer and producer application are language independent, platform independent, and architecture independent or not, guys? So they can be there anywhere. They can be there anywhere. Consumer product can be there either in what? Same language or technology. Or can be there in what? Two different languages or technologies or framework. Two different languages or technologies or what? Framework. Comfortable, my dear? Come on, everyone. Yes, boss. JAX RS is the technology to develop RESTful web services. Jersey, Spring REST, REST Easy, RESTlet, and etc. are the framework to develop what? RESTful web services. That's great. Microservices are built on the top of what? RESTful web services to develop what? Different services or modules as what? Different projects. Each project is called one microservice or not, guys? Later, these projects can be integrated for single project or for what? Multiple projects. Later, these projects can be integrated for what? Single project or what? Multiple projects. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. XML, extensible markup language. JSON, JavaScript object notation. JSON is nothing but what, guys? JavaScript object notation. Comfortable, my dear? Come on, everyone. RESTful web service or REST API is another mode of developing web services. But in that, the data exchange between consumer and producer application can be there either using JSON or XML. Like XML, JSON is also one more language to construct the data. Okay, compared to XML, JSON is popular. And when I launch this module, you will be learning all these things. What? This one. Right. Microservice architecture means what? All services will not be kept in single project. Every service is taken as what? Separate project. Later they are integrated or not, guys. And each microservice is nothing but one web service, guys. Especially RESTful web service, right? Come on, everyone. Using Spring Boot, we can develop standalone application, web application, distributed application. Enterprise application is combination of web application and distributed application or not, guys? Okay. We can develop this enterprise application either having what? Regular architecture, nothing but what? Developing different services as different modules of what? Single project. Okay. Now tell me, guys. Okay. We can develop projects in Spring Boot in two architecture. One is monolith architecture. Other one is what? Microservice architecture. What monolith architecture says, guys? All services of the project can be combined and used as a single unit. Can be combined and used as what? Single unit. This is e-commerce application, monolith what? Architecture. All, tell me, guys. All services are developed as module, integrated. At the end, all services and modules together released as a single var or jar file or not, guys? Will be released as single var or jar file or not, guys? Come on, everyone. Got the clarity or not? I want reply, my dear. Come on. These modules are different packages of e-commerce application. So these are tightly coupled with what? E-commerce application. Okay. What do you mean by tightly? Can I use each module individually? If one module is down, it may affect other modules, na boss? And all are packed into single unit. All these modules must be developed using same language or technology. Okay. E-commerce application, microservice architecture. Total how many services? 4 services. Are developed as what? 4 projects. And all of them are integrated here or not, guys? All of them are integrated here or not, guys? Tell me, what's the advantage? 4 projects can be developed either in same language or different. If one project is down, one microservice is down, other microservices also, there is no effect for other microservices or not? Because all of them are independent one. Next one. Someone liked one microservice. They can happily access only that microservice without having dependency with other microservices or boss. Like this, definitely advantages are there or not there, guys? Okay. What architecture is good? Microservice architecture is good or monolith architecture is good? For small and medium scale projects, prefer what? Monolith architecture. For bigger application, prefer what? Microservice architecture. For bigger application, prefer what? Microservice architecture. Come on. Spring Boot application is equal to 100% code driven configuration approach plus auto configuration. Microservice project or application is equal to multiple RESTful service projects plus third party tools for integration plus design pattern. In microservice architecture, 20 services are there. How many projects will be developed? 20. But later they need to be integrated. Na? As part of integration, we take the support of lot of third-party tools and a lot of design pattern support. That's why microservice architecture project is nothing but multiple RESTful web services plus third-party tools for integration plus design pattern. Third-party tools for integration plus lots of design pattern. Convinced or not, guys? Understood my statement or not, guys? Come on, everyone. Yeah, this is about what? Microservice architecture based project development. What architecture based project development, guys? Microservice architecture based project or application. Yeah. So I think in this document, what are the things we studied? Number one, flow of execution, quite regular and boring also. Differences between Spring and Spring Boot. Many things we already know, but I have listed them. Do I need to remember those many differences are? No. Try to remember any 5 of your choice and try to highlight them in the interview. After listening 5 differences, you won't feel comfortable to listen 6th and 7th. You will automatically goes to next question. Suppose you ask explanation to someone. You are getting convincing explanation. Okay. He is giving explanation for a long time. But after got the basic point out of it, after getting basic point out of it, come on. After getting basic point out of it, so we automatically move to next question, or they automatically goes to next topic or not, guys? No second thought in that. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on. Super, guys. Right. So now let's get into the next discussion. Session 5. Yes. I would like to give various annotation that we can use in Spring Boot programming. And listen, guys, in Spring Boot core module, 95% we use the same annotation that Spring is using. Only 5 to 10% different annotations are there. In Spring Boot core module, we use almost same annotation that are used for what? Spring core module programming. Only 5 to 10% differences will be there. In core programming of Spring Boot, we use following different categories of annotation. Annotations for configuration. Configuration means what? To configure Java class as Spring Beans. Annotations for data supply. Data supply means injection, guys. Oh. Annotations for, what is there? Spring Bean life cycle. Miscellaneous annotation. What annotations, boss? What annotations later? Miscellaneous annotation. Annotations for configuration, annotations for data injection, annotation for Spring Bean lifecycle, and remaining annotations, I call them as what? Miscellaneous. Annotations for configuration. These annotations are given to configure Java class as Spring Beans. That means making IOC container, creating objects for Java classes are not good. What is Spring Bean? First of all, tell me. The Java class whose object is created and managed by IOC container is called Spring Bean or not? Every Java class becomes Spring Bean, or when you configure with a special thing only it will become. When you configure for special thing, then only it will happen or not, guys. Every class will not become Spring Bean. When you configure for special thing, then only it will happen. What do you say, guys? Come on, everyone. Next one, at the rate component. What is there? To configure user-defined Java class as what? Spring Bean. At the rate service. To configure user-defined Java class as what? Spring Bean comes service class. Spring Bean comes service class. At the rate repository. To configure user-defined Java class as what? Spring Bean come DAO class. What class, guys? At the rate controller. To configure user-defined Java class as Spring Bean come web controller. At the rate REST controller. To configure user-defined Java class as what? Spring Bean come web controller class come REST API component. What component, guys? Okay, Spring Bean come web controller come REST API component. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay. Okay. Spring Bean come web controller come REST API component. At the rate controller advice. To configure user-defined Java class as what? Spring Bean come exception handler advice class in REST API. Alright, to handle exception related works, guys. Come on. At the rate configuration. To configure user-defined classes as what? Spring Bean come configuration class. But these are called stereotype annotations. All these annotations are similar annotation, but with minor changes. At the rate bean is not stereotype annotation, guys. Only 4 plus 4, 8 annotations are called what? Stereotype annotation. At the rate bean, to configure predefined Java class object given by at the rate given by method of configuration class as what? Spring Bean. Array, method returned object, if you want to make it as Spring Bean, we have to work with at the rate bean annotation or not, guys. Next, note. We don't use at the rate configuration annotation directly in Spring Boot application. Rather, we use indirectly through what? At the rate Spring Boot application annotation. What annotation, guys? At the rate Spring Boot application annotation. Convinced, my dear? Got the point, my dear? I want reply, guys. Come on, everyone. Okay. All these annotations are what? Spring specific annotation. Multiple annotation doing the same work of configuration Java class. Multiple annotation doing the same work of work like same work like what, guys? Same work like configuring Java class as Spring Bean are called what? Stereotype annotation. And nothing is there, guys. Annotation for configuration means they take the Java classes, they configure as what? Spring Bean. Web controller class can take the request and process the request given by browser. Business logic are this one, calculation analyzation. DAO class contains persistence logic or not, guys? Okay. Service class contains business methods having business laws. Business methods having business laws. Business methods having business laws. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Yes. Annotations for data supply. What, guys? Array, nothing but for injection activity, guys. These annotations are given to assign or inject data to Spring Bean properties. Spring Bean class object member variables. At the rate auto void to inject one Spring Bean class object to another Spring Bean class object's property, either by name or by type. Or if dependent is decided based on its class name, by type. If dependent is decided based on its bean ID, bean ID means what? Name of the Spring Bean. Okay, then it is called what? By name. At the rate primary decides the dependent based on type na. Qualifier decides based on the name na. Third approach to solve the ambiguity problem decides the dependent based on the bean name na. That means that comes under by name. Qualifier one by name. Okay, primary one at the rate primary one by type. At the rate primary one by type. Are you getting my point here, guys? If the IOC container picks up the dependent Spring Bean based on the type of the has a property on which at the rate auto void is applied, then it is called what? By type mode of auto wiring. If IOC container picks up the dependent Spring Bean based on the bean ID of dependent Spring Bean that is specified in qualifier, then it is called as what? By name mode of auto wiring. Okay, example. At the rate primary. Are by default by type only will happen na boss. At the rate primary. Picks up the dependent Spring Bean. What, guys? Dependent Spring Bean by type. By name or by type? By type. Nothing but class name or not, guys? Nothing but class name or not, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay. At the rate auto void. At the rate what, guys? Value. This is there to inject simple values or not, guys? This is there to inject simple value. Array at the rate auto void to inject one Spring Bean with another Spring Bean. At the rate qualifier is for what purpose, my dear? Come on, everyone. To solve the ambiguity problem or not, guys? This is purely there to solve the ambiguity problem. What do you say, guys? Super. At the rate primary also for what purpose? Okay. We have a Java config annotation which are given by JDK JW APIs, which can be also used in Spring purpose. First, number one, at the rate named. We don't use, guys. Only very few Java config annotations are there. Though you use them, you have to still use Spring annotation. We have to still use what? Spring annotation. Keep that in mind. Keeping that in mind. So we don't use, we prefer this, guys. Only for knowledge sake I am giving. At the rate named for two angles, boss. Number one, to configure Java class as Spring Bean, alternate to at the rate component. And whenever ambiguity problem comes, we can use at the rate name to resolve the ambiguity problem as alternate to at the rate qualifier. As alternate to at the rate qualifier. Next, at the rate inject, alternate to at the rate auto void. At the rate resource, alternate to at the rate qualifier plus at the rate auto void. Using at the rate resource, I can do injection. I can also specify what? Which bean you want. I can also specify what? Which bean you want. Why industry is not preferring Java config annotation in Spring Boot programming, though they make our code as what? Non-invasive code. Array, 1 minute, charger is not there. They forgot to connect charger. Can you help me? Yeah, keep that, sir. I think this side. Yeah. Listen carefully. Why industry is not preferring Java config annotation in Spring Boot programming, though they make our code as what? Non-invasive. Java config annotations are given by whom? JDK, JWE people. When they are used in Spring, okay, tomorrow once one more framework came into market, there also I can use same annotation. Come on. Because they are not Spring supplied annotation. They are what? JDK, JWE supplied annotation, which are common for any framework, right? But why they are not using it? Simple reason, boss. Why they are not using it? Why they are not using it? Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Simple and what? Straightforward reason. Very few Java config annotations are there. Very few Java config annotations are there. What do you say, guys? Come on, everyone. Though I use them for remaining other activities, I have to use Spring annotations. Yes, na, my dear. So why 50% them, 50% this? That's why everything you use belonging to Spring Boot. That's the reason number one. Reason number two. As on today, is there any alternate framework in the market for Spring and Spring Boot? No. When there is no alternate for Spring and Spring Boot, where is the question of moving your code to other framework? That's why we are preferring to work with what? Spring Boot supplied annotations only. They are more in numbers, can be used for all angles. Number two, as of now, there is no question of moving Spring or Spring Boot project to other framework because there are no alternate framework in the market for Spring and Spring Boot framework. Convinced, my dear? Come on, everyone. Why industry is not preferring Java config annotation in Spring Boot programming, though they make our code as what? More non-invasive. More non-invasive. Very few annotations are given as Java config annotation. So these annotations are not at all sufficient to develop what? Serious real-time project. Instead of using few Spring API annotation and few Java config annotation in our Spring or Spring Boot application, they are preferring to use what? Only Spring Boot API annotation in what? Real projects. As of now, there is no serious alternate for Spring Boot framework. So moving Spring Boot project code to another framework and executing in that framework without changes is practically not going to happen now, boss. Is it practically going to happen or not going to happen? Okay. Invasive tight coupling with the framework or technology APIs. Technology APIs or libraries. Non-invasive, loose coupling with what? Framework or technology APIs or libraries. If needed, we can place or use both Spring Boot API annotations and Java config annotation in single project or not, guys. Are you getting my point there or not there? Come on, everyone. Annotations for Spring Bean life cycle. What, guys? Annotations for Spring Bean life cycle. Okay. What is the difference between @named and component? Array named is Java config annotation. Component is what? Spring supplied. That's the only difference. Sridhar, both are same. One is given by JDK software, JW API. That's why it is not specific to Spring, right? Component is Spring supplied. Are you getting my point? Sridhar, I hope you got it. Purpose wise, both are same. Maybe if you are talking more technically, component is only to make Java class as Spring Bean. Named is for two angle. To make Java class as Spring Bean, whenever ambiguity problem is there, to solve the ambiguity problem also we can use this one or not, guys. Annotations for, what is there? Spring Bean life cycle. And what are the annotations we got for Spring Bean life cycle configuration, guys? Annotations for Spring Bean life cycle. Tell me, what are the annotations we got? @post construct to make Spring Bean class method as init life cycle method. @predestroy to make Spring Bean class method as what? Destroy life cycle method. Both these annotations are Java config annotation. That means they are not Spring or Spring Boot annotation. Like @named @resource is there like that. Already we discussed about these two annotations. Total how many categories of annotations we started understanding, guys? Number one, annotations for configuration. All stereotype annotations plus @bean. Ultimate purpose is what? Making Java class as Spring Beans. Next one, guys. Annotations for injections. Auto wide, what is there? @value, all this stuff. There's some Java config also there, leave it. Annotation for Spring Bean lifecycle. To configure post construct and what? Predestroy methods. Okay, next one, guys. Miscellaneous annotation. What do you mean by miscellaneous annotation? Tell me, my dear. @property source or sources is useful to configure property file with Spring or Spring Boot application or not, guys? @component scan. What is there? To make IOC container going to certain packages, scanning that package and sub packages, and to make stereotype annotation class as Spring Beans na boss. @import resource to link Spring Bean configuration file with configuration class. @import to link one configuration class with another configuration class or not, guys? To link one configuration class with what? Another configuration class or not, guys? Okay. Okay. Next, what? Scope. To specify Spring Bean scope or not, guys? What? Lazy. To enable lazy instantiation on what? Spring Bean. To enable lazy instantiation on what? Spring Bean. Is that clear, my dear? Okay, guys. Is that clear? Property source or sources. Component scan is there. Import resource is there. Import is there. Scope is there. Lazy is there. Like these multiple annotations are there or not there, boss? Like this, we have a multiple annotations or not, guys? Come on, everyone. Super. Okay. What is the advantage of Spring Boot frameworks compared to what? Struts or JSF? Listen, Struts JSF also frameworks, right? Spring and Spring Boot also framework. Are you listening? I am preparing background for second application development. Please concentrate. Struts JS for the framework only to develop the web application, not even distributed application. Using Springboot, they are all-rounder frameworks now, boss. I can develop standalone application, web application, distributed application, microservice architecture application. Come on, my dear. Come on, everyone. Is Springboot alternate to EaseAB? Is Springboot alternate to what? EaseAB? Tell me. Is it alternate or not alternate? Is it alternate or not alternate, guys? Using EaseAB, we can develop at max distributed application. But using Spring, standalone web application, distributed application, enterprise application. In fact, I can say EaseAB is just limited to one type of application development. Using Springboot, we can develop all kinds of application in a simplified manner or not, guys? All kinds of application in a simplified manner or not, guys? Different types of application in a simplified manner or not, guys? Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on, everyone. Yeah. Springboot are the framework which simplifies what? Multiple application development. See? No. EaseAB is given to develop only distributed application. Whereas Springboot is given to develop what? All kinds of application, including the distributed application. Clear, my dear? Come on, everyone. EaseAB is JWE technology, which gives complexity towards distributed application development. Springboot are the framework which simplifies what? Multiple application development like what? Standalone web application, distributed application. Is Springboot alternate to Java JWE technologies? What technologies, guys? No. Springboot framework complements what? Java JWE technologies, because they internally use what? Java JWE technology to simplify application development process. To literally simplify what, guys? Application development process. Are you getting my point there, guys? Come on, everyone. Okay. Struts allow to develop the distributed application. No. Struts JSF is only to develop web application. Using Springboot modules and frameworks, we can develop all kinds of application or not, guys. That's why can I say Struts is only restricted to web application. Springboot are what? Okay, Springboot are all-rounder frameworks or not, guys? They are technically called as what? All-rounder frameworks. Okay. Shall we summarize what we discussed in today's class? Okay, first we understood the flow of execution of first application. Not very much similar now. Okay. Number 2, differences between Spring and Springboot. Nearly 15-16 differences are given, but you remember maximum 5 good differences. Number 3, we discussed about what? What is the relation between web service and microservice? Microservice is extension of web service, na boss? Web service only for distributed application. Microservice is what? Enterprise application, but what architecture? Microservice architecture. What do you mean by microservice architecture? Develop different services as different projects and integrate them by using third-party tools and design patterns. Okay, then we started understanding various types of annotations that are there in Springboot core module. Okay. Okay. Almost 90% same annotations of Spring core. 10% differences are there. Overall, how many categories of annotations we have seen? 4 categories. Annotation for configuration. They take Java classes and configure them as what? Spring beans. Annotations for injection, boss. Come on. @auto void value for injection. Some Java config annotations also there, but they are not so useful. Next, guys, annotations for what? Lifecycle configuration. Post construct pre-destroy. Okay, nice, guys. Next, annotations for miscellaneous annotation. The leftover annotations are miscellaneous annotation. Okay. Is Spring alternate to struts? No. Struts only for web application. Spring is for what? All developing all kinds of applications. Is Spring alternate for JWE technologies? No. They are built of Spring Boot frameworks are built on the top of JWE technology. In fact, I can say JWE technologies are, come on, Spring Boot frameworks are complementing JWE technology. Spring Boot framework internally use JWE technology and they simplify the application development process or not, guys? Okay. What is need of taking multiple configuration classes? Suppose I have 100 beans, guys. Instead of writing all 100 beans configuration or @bean method in one configuration class or multiple configuration class, instead of taking them in one configuration class, take them in different configuration class, link with each other so that you can pass only main configuration class to container creation process or not. I have 200 beans. In that 100 beans are coming because of @bean method. Instead of writing, come on, a lot of @bean method in configuration class. Come on. It's better to write. It's better to write only for what? One time and use them for multiple times or not, guys? Or write in multiple configuration classes, link them to one main configuration class, and we can use that main configuration class in container creation. So for modularity purpose, no other reason. For modularity purpose, guys. Don't think about classroom level, some small application. Think about company level, big application. Definitely there will be need of taking what? Multiple configuration classes. Yeah. Can we upload the material, guys? Yeah, tomorrow we are going to develop second application using Spring Boot. That too by using strategy design pattern. I hope you'll revise and come strategy design pattern completely. How many principles are there in strategy design pattern? 3 are there. What are those? Favor composition over inheritance. Always code to interfaces and abstract classes. That means don't code with implementation classes. Next, our code must be open for what? Extension, and must be closed for modification. File upload, guys. Where is that? Where is that? 515. What is there? Spring Boot core. Session number 4. Session number 5. Yeah, when we meet in tomorrow's session, we try to complete what? Second and third projects. Okay. You said previous class, Spring Cloud is part of microservice. Either way, if you don't listen, if you don't know how to listen English statement, I'm helpless. Spring Cloud is the module name. Using that module, we develop microservice architecture projects. How Spring Web module is there to develop web application. Spring REST module is there to develop RESTful web services, distributed application. Spring Cloud module is there to develop what? Microservice architecture application. This is what I said. And you change it to the whole meaning of the statement. Spring Cloud is not part of microservice architecture. Using Spring Cloud module of Spring Framework or SpringBoot framework, we try to develop microservice architecture application. Every module is there to develop one kind of application. Core module, standalone application. Data JPA module, standalone application talking to database. Web module, web application. REST module to develop distributed application. Cloud module to develop what? Microservice architecture based application. Session 4 and 5 both are uploaded now, boss. Thank you. Have a nice time.